Scary story time. This story is called The Elevator by Jerry Barnuevo. Bad things happen to bad people, and a friend told me a spooky story about an unscrupulous doctor who worked in a private hospital in Metro Manila. The doctor charges patients depending on their social status, but no matter what the status, he was always overcharged. He didn't discriminate whether his patients were rich or poor. He preyed onto the rich and famous the same as he did for the poor and less fortunate patients. He would have gotten old and continued doing this, but for an encounter with the supernatural that changed him for life. The doctor was practicing physician for almost 15 years. He graduated from a famous medical school here in the Philippines and became one of the top-notchers when he took the board exam. His intelligence and expertise made him famous in the local medical scene and earned him recognition as one of the best doctors in the country. As a result of his fame and achievements, patients flocked to his clinics. Members of high society, politicians, and celebrities went to him for treatment. At the same time, some desperate patients sought to his medical attention. Patients who would spend all that they had just to be treated or given a cure. At the start of the doctor's career, he was fair to his patients and used all his talents to help his patients who were in dire need. He charged his patients honestly and sometimes gave discounts to the poor. But this noble character changed when he realized he could earn much more money and live a lavish king lifestyle if he overcharged his patients. He started overcharging his rich patients who didn't care as long as the doctor treated them. His greed became atrocious when he started doing it even to the poor. If they can't afford my services, they ought to suffer and die. As for me, money is what I need, and I'm going to be filthy rich. As a result of greed, many of those who couldn't afford his services died without undergoing treatment. Although he may have felt a twinge of guilt every so often, whenever he heard that a patient had died, he remained unmoved and continued to feed his greed, sucking his patients' resources up to the last drop. But one day, a weird thing happened. The doctor was on one of his rounds. He rode to the hospital's elevator to go up to his clinic. It was late in the afternoon, and there were a few people left in the hospital. So the doctor had the elevator all to himself. He pushed the button for the 6th floor, where his clinic is located. When it reached the 2nd floor, the door opened. But to his surprise, no one entered the elevator. He peered outside the elevator to check if anyone outside had pushed the 2nd floor button, but no one was around. When the elevator reached the 3rd floor, the same thing happened, and this was likewise repeated when it reached the 4th. By the time it reached the 5th level, the doctor was totally mystified. The elevator door opened and still no one joined him in the elevator. Just as it was about to close, however, the overloaded warning sounded. The doctor nearly jumped from the shrill buzz of the warning button. That's funny, he thought to himself. How can the buzzer sound when I'm the only one here? All of a sudden, he remembered long-forgotten ghost stories about the hospital that he didn't pay attention to. He could feel the pinpricks of fear crawling up his spine. When the elevator reached the 6th floor, he nearly stumbled in a hurry to get out of it. He ran towards his clinic and tried to forget what happened. Later, as he was examining one of his patients, his secretary told him that the father of one of his patients who had just died was outside. The family could not afford to pay the doctor's fees and so can no longer continue the treatment. The secretary said the father blamed the doctor for the death of his son. Ng anak nila, basically saying, let him rant and shout, I don't care. They knew it very well that their son was seriously ill, and why didn't they save any money for it? The doctor told the secretary. As the secretary was about to inform him of the father that the doctor was busy with another patient and sent him away, another parent and a father barged in the clinic shouting that the doctor had killed his teenage daughter. Had you treated my daughter and didn't ask for a high fee, she would still been alive by now, the father said accusingly. The doctor tried to elude the angry parents by telling the secretary he got an emergency call from another hospital. So off the doctor went to the corridor, but as he neared the elevator, he remembered that earlier incident and vowed never to go in the elevator alone. So he waited till another passenger, a teenage girl, came along boarding the elevator. Sure enough, the elevator began acting strange again. He pushed the button for the first, but was visibly upset when it went straight to the basement, where the morgue is located. The door opened, and the doctor saw a boy running towards the elevator. Recognizing the boy as one of his patients who just died, the same boy whose father was ranting in his clinic upstairs, he immediately pushed a button, shutting the door. The teenage girl saw what he did and asked the doctor why he didn't let the boy in. He answered, that boy is dead. How can you tell? The girl persisted. Can't you see that he has a red tag around his wrist? That's a sure sign that he's dead and marked for the morgue. The doctor exclaimed.
Something like this?
The girl asked as she raised her wrist. The doctor turned in time to see the girl shoved her wrist in front of his face. The doctor turned deathly white as blood drained from his face. The girl was his other dead patient. That was the last thing he remembered. He slumped down in a dead faint. He was found in the hospital, security guards lying alone inside the elevator. The doctor realized that his sins were fast catching up with him. The overloaded elevator must have been filled with spirits of all his patients who died from his neglect, just because they couldn't afford his fees. Since then, the doctor changed his ways and started treating his patients fairly.